We respect and honor the guests that have graced us with their presence today. And instead, we celebrate what brings us together, which is the city of Johannesburg, and allow the Executive Mayor of the city of Johannesburg to make his presentation in the most dignified and honorable manner. It is my pleasant duty and great honor right now to welcome the Executive Mayor of Joburg, Councillor Gwamanda, to deliver his maiden State of the City address.
Speaker of Council, Councillor Colleen Makubele, members of the Mayoral Committee, the Chief Whip of Council, Councillor Zungu, Chair of Chairs, Councillor Phillips, all chairpersons of the Section 79 Oversight Committees, fellow councillors, City Manager, Mr. Floyd Brink, Chairperson of the Government of Local Unity Political Management Committee, Mr. Sasabona Manganye, Chairperson of the Minority Governing Parties, Councillor Arnold, leadership of coalition parties, leaders of political parties represented in council, religious and business leaders in our midst, leaders from various societies, organizations, members of the media, distinguished guests, residents of the city of Johannesburg, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you all. As a township boy who grew up during the hardship and confusion of a transitional period in our democracy, grappling and trying to reconcile with an identity, with an idea of a country that is alive with possibilities. A month ago, I stood in this very same lectern and assumed the role of executive mayor. I myself could have never have imagined the possibility that manifested itself in such a great honor and purpose and fortitude. As part of a generation that inherited the responsibility of building a future on the foundation of hope, one that is paved with sacrifice, blood, sweat, tears, it is indeed a privilege for me, more especially in this month of June, where we take time to reflect and at the same time celebrate the role of young people in the struggle against the brutality, subjugation, tyranny of the apartheid regime. As we enjoy fruits of this tree of liberty, let us not forget the systematic and deliberate irrigation thereto. Ladies and gentlemen, as a proud symbol of this current generation, standing tall on the shoulders of giants. I am proud to play an active and meaningful role in shaping the future. Madam Speaker, as the first of my kind, the youngest executive mayor of this great city, that is the biggest economic hub in the African continent, I would like to believe that I am certainly not the last. Young people far and wide across our city must take note that the circumstances to which you were born are no determinant of your future. I take this moment to express gratitude and honor to the courageous youth of 1976, and in the same breath, acknowledge the resilience of the youth of today and the modern struggles that they are faced with. But equally, impress upon them on this day, June 6th, 2023, in this Youth Month, that the black child should now know with certainty that it is indeed possible. Madam Speaker, the City of Johannesburg Metropolitan Municipality has in itself an equal share of difficulties emanating from the transitional period of our political landscape. And as we know, coalition governments define our modern status quo. However, let us observe the implications thereto as we address the state of the city. Post-2026, our city has been governed by various coalitions, which introduced a new era in the politics and governance of Johannesburg. This new political reality has introduced a myriad of challenges, both for governance and politics. More importantly, it has introduced unprecedented levels of instability, especially under the various DA-led multi-party coalitions. that have sought to settle political scores as opposed to servicing residents. As we navigate the terrain to create the most efficient and reliable political systems, in the interest of our people as the government of local unity, we are a government determined to serve the residents of the city of Johannesburg and to meet their most basic needs and expectations of local government. Our people want to live and work in a safe and clean city. They want to travel on maintained and tar roads. They want to open their taps every morning and find clean water flowing. And this is the mandate to which we are committed, equal to all residents across the city. It is with earnestness and humility and determination that I share with you the current state of progress as reflected in our corporate scorecard as the city of Johannesburg, acknowledging that we find ourselves at a performance level of 66% at the end of this third quarter. While this number may not meet our initial expectation, it is essential to recognize the significant strides that we have made despite the challenges that were inherited by the GLU. When we assumed office we were faced with a fragile state of finances that demanded immediate attention. It necessitated aligning our priorities and rebasing our budget to lay the foundation of sustainable growth and development. In the face of this daunting task, our administration embarked on a journey of restructuring, making tough decisions, and implementing strategic reforms. We recognized the importance of fiscal responsibility and transparency, the pillars of effective governance. By diligently reviewing our budget, re-evaluating our expenditure, and generating more revenue, we have taken steps to ensure that every rand is utilized efficiently and effectively. We have engaged in extensive consultations with stakeholders, listened to the needs of our communities, and allocated resources accordingly.
Councillors, I'm appealing for order. Executive Mayor, you are protected. Take your time. This is your speech.
Thank you, Speaker. The rigorous process allowed us to realign our priorities, focusing on key areas such as infrastructure development and refurbishment, actively engaging with our citizenry and facilitating job creation opportunities. Although progress has been steady in the 3 months of the government of local unity, we acknowledge that there is still much work to be done. We are therefore committed to rebounding our efforts and leveraging every available opportunity to propel Johannesburg towards its full potential. We will continue to build a city that thrives, a city that uplifts its residents, and a city that we can all be proud to call home. However, Madam Speaker, in order to attain this envisaged city, we must first be cognizant of our reality, lest we be accused of daydreaming and doing nothing. We acknowledge our current reality, that Johannesburg continues to battle a number of developmental challenges, amongst others. Spatial inequality persists with disparities in access to service and opportunities visible across different areas. Unemployment rates remain high, threatening the livelihoods of many of our residents. A lack of affordable housing has led the proliferation of informal settlements and further exacerbating the living conditions of the poor. Not you, the poor.
Thank you, councillors. Thank you.
Madam Speaker,
Thank you.
crime, especially violent crime, as well as gender-based violence and femicide, endangers community safety and undermines social cohesion. Transportation inefficiencies limit mobility and economic productivity. There are still gaps in service delivery, affecting access to water, sanitation, energy, and waste management. And sadly, poverty and inequality persist as a hallmark of the stubborn legacy of apartheid, colonialism, and and serves only to impede inclusive growth and progress. Understand that. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, and fellow councillors, there comes a time when one must take a position that is neither politically safe nor popular. But one but this has to be taken because one's conscience dictates that it is my apologies. You're correct. Madam Speaker, these steps need to be taken, but it has to be taken because one's conscience dictates that it is the right thing to do. And today, I would like to project a true reflection of the state of our city. Over the past 3 weeks, I delved into the working mechanisms, trying to understand the true state of the city of Johannesburg. What we now know as fact is that the city's finances remain strained, following the tabling of a conceptually flawed budget by the multi-party government, and the result, clandestine management of the city's finances. The government of local unity found itself in a budget rebasing exercise in the adjustment budget process, and is grappling with finding innovative, novel, and financially prudent mechanisms that ensure that service delivery continues. We also know that by the end of June 2021, the government of local unity's audited financial statements reflected a city with a healthy cash balance of 6.6 billion. However, upon our return in January 2023, when we took over from the multi-party coalition, we find a near-bankrupt government. sitting with over 6 billion in unpaid supplier invoices. After consistent denial of the true state of affairs by the multi-party government, this government of local unity approved the short-term loan facility to begin to clear the unpaid invoices, and the reality is that without a financially sound city, we will not be able to invest as required in our core municipal mandate of service delivery and the delivering of basic services. Ensuring the security and electricity and water supply, efficient road infrastructure, and the many other service delivery mandates that demand immediate attention. Fellow councillors, the thought leadership that exists within our unity of purpose and guided by the GDS 2040, intergovernmental relations, and critical aspects to note in the operationalization of our 11 strategic priorities, which will take us a step closer to a world-class African city we want Joburg to become. Through the district development model, ours is to ensure that we work closely with the provincial and national spheres of government to create synergy and coordination in resolving the challenges that face our city. From our fight against crime to our ability to provide reliable and sustainable water supply. From finding viable, lasting solutions to our growing infrastructure backlogs and delivering on our promises to mitigate the load shedding burden and to cushion residents and businesses alike against power cuts. Our ability to work closely with the provincial and national government is vital. Challenges such as those raised by the communities of Lerov, which I visited recently, require our joint partnership with province and national government to decisively deal with elements of criminality such as illegal mining. The seemingly overwhelming relaxed criterion of issuing of liquor licenses and buyback centers, among others, in communities, and the deployment of police to hotspots such as Riverlea and Westbury, supported by our JMPD, a task team on illegal mining and the rehabilitation of mine dumps in particular will soon be announced, bringing to the table business communities, law enforcement agencies, and the municipality itself. We are confident that with reactivating these intergovernmental relations will allow alignment of different spheres of government and serves as an enabler of realistic prospects of impactful solutions for our residents' daily lived experiences. Load shedding, Madam Speaker, remains one of the biggest threats to our city and safety and security, economy and livability of the city, providing reliable and sustainable power supply to our residents and business. Madam Speaker, power supply of electricity to residents and businesses in the city is one of the foremost priorities of the government of local unity. Mitigating the impact of planned outages by Eskom is a matter that is receiving our urgent attention through City Power. Last week, Monday, residents woke up to the disturbing news of the death of a toddler whose life-supporting oxygen machine could not support her because load shedding and technical faults meant the home she lives in was without power for 8 hours. We do not need to politicize this tragic event, but we need to collectively own the failings of government to our people. The premature death of the toddler is a stain on our collective conscience and should serve always to remind us of the urgency in which we must find lasting solutions to our energy crisis. There is no doubt that energy plays a critical role in promoting economic growth, reducing poverty, and enhancing the quality of life for all our residents. We have recently mandated City Power and the City Manager through Council to extend our power purchase agreement with Kelvin Power Station by another 3 years, ending in October 2026. Currently, we purchase 87% of our power from Eskom, and Kelvin supports us with a balance of 13%. This added power will serve as a benefit to our residents, more especially during the winter peak period. we are now entering as we anticipate a significant growth in demand of electricity. Working with province, we are determined to improve the energy mix and availability factor of the city and potentially the province at large. However, we must also urgently attend to the rampant and increasing cases of vandalism and cable theft. These incidents are at a great cost to the city and at an even greater cost to residents whose supply is affected for days and weeks on end. We are also under pressure to invest in new infrastructure, to cater for growth in communities such as El Dorado Park, in the the people of El Dorado Park are in the dark due to the daily the community of El Dorado Park is in the dark due to the delay in completion of substations and upgrades. However, committed to ensure that City Power expedite this work and meet the set timelines to complete the work being done. We are engaging independent power producers.
Executive Mayor, kindly give me 1 second. Councillor Myers, what purpose do you rise for? Councillor Khaldin. Councillors, I appealed that we behave in an orderly manner. May I request that you just withdraw that statement? I want the Executive Mayor to proceed with the address.
That's why the councillors are resigning. I withdraw speaker, I withdraw devil worshipper.
I appreciate it. Councillors, remember, if you throw stones, stones are going to be thrown back at you, and I will not protect you. I'm asking you also to behave on my left. Executive Mayor, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, we are engaging independent power producers to diversify our energy source and ensure reliable electricity supply. Additionally, we will roll out rooftop solar installations for disadvantaged households in our city's most disadvantaged areas. By promoting renewable energy adoption, we aim to enhance energy security, reduce electricity costs, and contribute to the greener and more environmentally sustainable Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, taking bold action is imperative. We must implement strategic interventions that address these challenges head-on. In January 2023, the government of local unity returned to office. In this coalition, we promised a renewed sense of purpose and a commitment to collaborative governance. We have promised to stand united in our resolve to confront the challenges that lie before us and shape a future worthy of our resilient city of Johannesburg. In the context of the GLU, our politics are reimagined, which means that we will explore new and innovative ways of dealing with the many challenges that our city faces. We committed that despite our differences, political backgrounds, and ideological persuasions, we would come together and govern, united by our common priorities and sense of duty to serve the people and make the city of Johannesburg work. With a closer look at the composition of the mayoral committee, you will discover the commitment projected in the faces of our continued commitment to service delivery. Our commitment to reimagine our politics, our commitment to reimagine our city, our commitment to reimagine our relentless pursuit of building a legacy for the city of Johannesburg. We recognize that taking the complex challenges that we face requires strategic planning and proactive measures and a steadfast commitment to collaboration and citizen engagement. The government of local unity is at the forefront of implementation of strategies and plans to address these challenges and work towards a shared vision of a prosperous and inclusive city. Our integrated development plan, deemed the People's Plan, as the theme of our 2023-2024 IDP process, represents the embodiment of our commitment to inclusive governance and resident-centered decision-making. The IDP serves as a blueprint for the city's development, and the People's Plan amplifies the voices of our residents, ensuring their active participation in shaping the future of Johannesburg. This visionary document is a testament of our belief in the power of collective intelligence, recognizing that the diverse perspectives, ideas, and aspirations of our people are invaluable assets in driving meaningful change. The People's Plan establishes a platform for dialogue, collaboration, and shared responsibility, enabling us to align our policies, programs, and projects with the real needs and aspirations of our communities. By placing residents at the heart of the planning process, the People's Plan reflects our unwavering commitment to building a city that truly belongs to its people, and one that is inclusive, equitable, and responsive to the diverse needs of our vibrant and dynamic population. I have noted the concerns of residents that were raised through the regions across the city of Johannesburg, were common to concerns raised in Region A: the need for skills development, a request for formalization of informal settlement, electrification and infrastructure upgrades. In Region B, the need for safety patrol and crime surveillance. I have noted the recycling and cleaning up concerns and requests for a taxi rank expansion. Region C, concerns that were raised on the need for maintenance and clean up, a youth skills center, and a sewer upgrade. In Region D, common to the needs raised is is that of skills development, rehabilitation of facilities, stormwater drainage, and solar-powered farming. In Region E, I note the request around the refurbishment of the Tusong Youth Center, as well as the need to convert Sankopono Resource Center into a multi-purpose center. I note the concerns raised by Limbro, amongst them being the refurbishment of the Limbro Park Library, sports facilities, as well as the Baklu Lower Bridge refurbishment. In Region F, I note the concern of sewer maintenance and pipeline system in Ward 58. And this is in Fortsburg. Recreation and sports centers, one being a request from a Xavier multi-purpose center. Madam Speaker, I further note the request for the Slovo social housing electrification. In Region G, I take note of the request for a skills development center, a fully operational library in Ennerdale, as well as a request for a swimming pool in Ward 5. To address the issue of spatial inequality, we have developed a comprehensive spatial development framework linked to the IDP that focuses on equitable distribution of resources and opportunities across the city. This includes targeted investment in infrastructure, social amenities, and affordable housing in underserviced areas through communities, and promote social cohesion and equal access to essential services across all our regions for all our residents. Fellow residents of Johannesburg, I want to assure you that the government of local unity is committed to taking a proactive approach in addressing the challenges facing our city and communities. Through strategic planning, collaboration, and citizen engagement, we are laying the foundation for a brighter future. Together with the collective efforts of residents, business, and civil society, we will create a legacy that reflects the hopes, dreams, aspirations of all the inhabitants of Johannesburg. The Johannesburg Growth and Development Strategy, GDS 2040, has been in the past and continues to be a cornerstone for the government of local unity's strategic vision. It provides a lane through which we can view the Johannesburg of the future and defines the type of society we want to achieve in 2040. In order to make decisive inroads towards the realization of our 4 outcomes of GDS during this term, we as the government of local unity have resolved on 11 strategic priorities. These are good governance, financial sustainability, and energy mix, sustainable service delivery, infrastructure development and refurbishment, job opportunity and creation, safer cities, and active and engaged citizenry, sustainable economic growth, green economy, and a smart city. With these priorities, we, together with my team of capable MMCs, aim to improve service delivery, promoting economic growth through the creation of a supportive environment, improving the livability of urban spaces, and building a resilient and sustainable administration for future residents of the city of Johannesburg. Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, perhaps more important than anything I have spoken about thus far is water. As the old adage goes, water is the driving force of all nature. Water is life's matter and matrix, mother and medium. There is no life without water. The State of the Climate in Africa in 2021 report has a special focus on water. High water stress is estimated to affect about 250 million people in Africa. 4 out of 5 African countries are unlikely to have sustainable managed water resources by 2030. As we acknowledge the need to plan futuristically, as we acknowledge the plan as we acknowledge, once again, the need to plan futuristically, Councillor, we cannot deny the current infrastructure challenges that contribute to water shortages within the city. These issues remain high on my agenda, and I will continue to work with the mayoral committee and the city's administration to find solutions, long-term solutions at that, to the infrastructure problems plaguing the city. One of our service delivery imperatives is that Joburg Water continues to invest in building and upgrading the bulk water infrastructure. This is in the context of water. The city will implement a geyser installation accredited training program in all regions of the city, targeting 140 residents as per of our comprehensive skills development strategy. Madam Speaker, in human settlements, the development of southern farms has been approved and the development agreement has been finalized. After a long process, the implementation of the Southern Farms project will finally commence in the 2023-2024 financial year. Through collaboration between the 3 spheres of government, Luforeng has been allocated additional funding by National Treasury to boost the construction of infrastructure in the ongoing housing development. In March 2023, Council approved 181 recognized informal settlements to be upgraded, including identification of suitable land to be de-densified, to de-densify congested and densely populated areas. It cannot go without saying that as the economic hub of our country and continent, Joburg attracts people from all walks of life. Those seeking to improve the quality of their lives. However, this migration of people to our city also puts pressure on the city's infrastructure, security, and emergency response systems. In addressing these challenges, it will be critical to the city's success in the years to come. Madam Speaker, to tackle high levels of crime, Public Safety Department, in collaboration with other law enforcement agencies, is dedicated to reducing crime and promoting safety throughout the city. They will focus on citywide crime prevention by law enforcement, road traffic management, and emergency management services. A reimagined, resilient Johannesburg is one in which residents feel safe and protected at all times, regardless of their agenda or sexual orientation, regardless of their age or dress code, regardless of their vulnerabilities or level of security. Our people must feel safe at all times in this world-class African city. Fighting and defeating crime is a top priority for the government of local unity. To bolster our efforts in fighting crime, we plan to procure approximately 2,000 crime wardens in the city of Johannesburg. 2,000. It's not much, but we are trying. These dedicated individuals will work alongside law enforcement agencies and communities and stakeholders to strengthen crime prevention initiatives, improve community policing, and enhance the overall safety and security of our city. Driven by our conviction never to surrender the city to criminals, we are determined to collaborate with the provincial and national government to create safer neighborhoods where residents can live without fear. This means that we must urgently find a solution to the problem of violent crime that has plunged communities such as Westbury for far too long. We must rescue our children from trappings of alcohol abuse, drugs, and gangsterism. With a firm hand, Madam Speaker, and an infallible eye, we must silence the guns in our communities. Through the multidisciplinary operation led by the Public Safety Department, we will restore the rule of law in the inner city and ensure the safety of all who live, work in the inner city. We have since introduced a new initiative and partnership with the private sector that will give our JMPD access to 5,000 smart CCTV cameras across the city to allow us to monitor, track, and trace crime suspects and perpetrators across the city. Recent collaborations in this regard have allowed us to apprehend robbery suspects and hijacked vehicles, including pedestrian criminals across the city. In the coming weeks, we will also announce a program to deal decisively with the problem of hijacked buildings and the lawlessness associated with it. Madam Speaker, the correlation between unemployment and crime requires no study text quotation. In this room, too many of us have seen the impact of unemployment and the social health of our communities. We must renew our efforts to creating economic growth and reducing unemployment with a special focus on our youth. In pursuit of this goal, the city has made job creation and opportunities a top priority with a specific emphasis on supporting small, medium, and micro enterprises. SMMEs and entrepreneurs are crucial in absorbing labor and developing, growing, and improving the health of the urban economy. We have identified factors that hinder SMMEs and entrepreneurs across the market. Sustainable livelihoods and expansion, such as fellow councillor and councillors. We are determined to create an enabling environment for SMMEs and entrepreneurs to thrive. By doing so, the city will be contributing to increased employment opportunities and, in particular, job creation for the youth. The Township Economy Bill of Gauteng seeks to promote economic growth and development in townships by supporting small businesses and entrepreneurship. To implement this in Johannesburg, there needs to be a focus on creating an enabling environment for business to thrive, providing access to funding and resources, and building partnerships between government, the private sector, the community, and organizations alike. In this Youth Month of June, Madam Speaker, we have to acknowledge that the city of Johannesburg has a large youthful population, and that we have a responsibility to realize our demographic dividend. Unfortunately, young people still face a number of socio-economic challenges. Youth unemployment in the city is at an alarming 53%. Young people are overrepresented as both victims and perpetrators of crimes. Too many young people are battling substance abuse and are characterized by a low entrepreneurial spirit, poor physical and mental health, a low skills level, and a skills mismatch. The city of Johannesburg will this year finally head the call for a restructured and capacitated youth directorate in order to consolidate and enhance youth development in the city of Johannesburg. The Youth Directorate will ensure youth development mainstreaming in all government departments and city-owned entities, and an accelerated call for social justice through education. This will include economic empowerment, skills development, preferential procurement, and social development. And social development programs targeting young people, in fact. The Directorate will collaborate with various stakeholders to ensure maximum impact and that ordinary young people in the city of Johannesburg have a dedicated structure to serve their needs and ensure that the city realizes its demographic dividend. Madam Speaker, we are determined to embark on women economic empowerment programs aimed at ensuring the maximum participation of women in the mainstream economy. This will include the facilitation of access to finance and markets, and part of the National Strategic Framework on Gender Equality. In instances of gender-based violence, the city will provide psychological support and legal assistance to survivors. Furthermore, we will establish a gender-based violence advisory committee to address these issues comprehensively. Our aim is to ensure that victims of gender-based violence receive shelter, 3 meals a day, and the necessary support they require. We also aim to establish self-sustainable food gardens in various communities, specifically targeting child-headed families and vulnerable women heading indigent households. As the economic hub, as the economic growth hub of the country, Johannesburg attracts a vast pool of job seekers, including both skilled and unskilled labor. In line with its commitment to reducing unemployment, the city ensures that projects are implemented throughout the expanded Public Works Program, the EPWP, wherever possible. The focus of these opportunities is on the youth and women who face the highest rates of unemployment. Madam Speaker, this administration recognizes that the inner city of Johannesburg represents the physical deterioration and decay of the city of gold. If it remains unchanged, it will not inspire confidence amongst the residents regarding our sincerity to bring about change. Worse still, it will not inspire confidence amongst the investors we also desperately need for our economic growth ambitions. The regeneration of the city of Johannesburg, therefore, remains a mayoral priority and will also remain a key priority for all departments and municipal-owned entities. The roadmap is the framework through which the city and municipal stakeholders can collectively pursue the vision of the inner city as a place of opportunity. This will be achieved by making sure that the inner city remains a well-governed, transformed, safe, clean, and sustainable space which offers high-quality sustainable services, supports vibrant economic activities, and provides a warm welcome for all residents, migrants, commuters, workers, traders, investors, and tourists. Regarding investment attraction, Rentation and expansion. The informal trading policy has been approved, and we will prioritize its implementation, Madam Speaker, after the public participation process has been concluded. The special rating areas policy that will see us working with the private sector in providing top-up services will also take priority for this administration. To make the inner city clean, we will focus on greater coordination with all stakeholders involved in the cleaning of the inner city. However, there must be an appreciation that keeping the inner city clean is not the responsibility of the municipality alone. Noted. We all have a duty to keep our city clean. We must not litter. We must always be conscious, patriotic, active, and engaged citizens who love Johannesburg. Working with the provincial government, we will pay special attention to the proliferation of liquor outlets in the inner city in relation to our own bylaws and assess how this contributes to the inner city's deterioration. As much as we face significant challenges in the inner city, it is not all doom and gloom. Our investment strategy targeted at the inner city is beginning to yield significant results, Councillor. Braamfontein, which is now designated as a student precinct, is seeing a massive boom in the development of student accommodation. The noticeable development brought about by the ABSA towers and surroundings is also a good example of what we are talking about. All these are happening as a result of the city working with our partners in the private sector. We have focused our attention on the High Court precinct, Councillor, where we have decisively dealt with lawlessness within the precinct. We have appointed consultants to package the reimagination of the precinct, and public consultation processes are underway, overseen by my office. As our regeneration model is precinct-based, we will also give attention to other precincts like the Mpilo Dudu precinct, where the St. Mary's Anglican Cathedral is situated. We also want to create a security precinct where we will have different law enforcement agencies establishing joint operation centers equipped with the latest technology to combat crime decisively in the inner city. We must also be mindful the new economic initiatives that happen in the inner city do not adversely impact the existing ones. For example, we must ensure that new developments do not destroy the vibrant culture, atmosphere, and culturally orientated entertainment facilities that define certain sections of our inner city. We must do all that is humanly possible to preserve the culture and economy of Johannesburg. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, as we reflect on our journey, let us remember the unwavering spirit that resides within us. that resides within us all. We are a community of survivors, of dreamers, who refuse to be deteriorated by adversity. Our history is in testament to our resilience, a testament to our ability to overcome even the most daunting challenges. Today, as we face new hurdles and unforeseen trials, we stand tall and resolute. We embrace the fires of determination that burn within us, propelling us forward with unwavering strength. We will not falter in the face of adversity, for we know that with each challenge lies an opportunity for growth, for transformation, and for greatness. We have set out a new path to restore the heartbeat of the city of Johannesburg and that of its residents. On this path, we will double our efforts to ensure that potholes are fixed, traffic lights work, grass is cut regularly, and indeed, street lights function. On the path, we will recognize and genuinely acknowledge the fact that the workers in the city of Johannesburg are the primary drivers of progress, because we cannot achieve anything without their hard work. On this path, we shall not be judged by how many times our actions grab the headlines, or how often our utterances are deemed worthy of sound bites by the opposition. Nor shall we be judged by the frequency with which we trend on Twitter, Facebook, or any other social media platform. We will be judged on the basis of one thing and one thing only: how we work every day as a collective to make the lives of our people of Johannesburg better. Madam Speaker, fellow councillors, residents of Johannesburg, I have delivered the state of our city, and I have outlined how we can use the past and understand who we are in order to take the necessary and decisive action to rebuild a resilient Johannesburg that is people-centric. Now let us collaborate in bringing back the heartbeat of a world-class African city. Madam Speaker, I thank you.